I can point to the very day that I knew I wanted to become an actor. I was about 12 or 13 years old in New Mexico, and I went to, every Saturday I used to go to a matinee, to the movies, and I would always go see, you know, Gene Autry or Roy Rogers or one of those Western stars, Lash LaRue or something like that. But this day I went and I saw a Western, but I saw a different kind of Western than I'd ever seen before. I saw a film called The Treasure of Sierra Madre that was directed by John Huston. And I knew from that moment on that I wanted to become an actor. And now you'd think, since I wanted to become an actor, that I would become a fan of the actors in the film, Humphrey Bogart or Tim Holt or Walter Huston. But I didn't. I became a fan of John Huston's. And since then, I've seen every film that he's ever been involved with, either as a writer or a producer or an actor or a director. And I'm honored to say that in the last year of John's life, I actually got to become friends with him. John loved to play poker, and he was dying of emphysema, and so he would invite four or five of us over to his house on an afternoon, and we would play poker for a couple of hours, and till he got tired, and then we'd bring in a meal and sit around and have some of the most, that last year, there were some of the most wonderful, scintillating conversations that I've ever had. And John and I became really close in that last year. And getting to know him meant a lot to me. And the very night that he died was so dramatic that I wanted to write a song about it. You see, in addition to loving poker, John also loved songs of the Mexican Revolution. And so the night he was dying, we were supposed to be having an Irish wake. And John and Maricela were in the bedroom, and the rest of us were out in the living room. But instead of playing Irish tunes, we were playing Mexican songs. And I don't know if it was the songs or what, but at one point, John opened his eyes and he turned to Maricela and he said, "Do we have enough rifles?" And she said, "Yes, John, of course we have enough rifles." So he drifted off, and then he opened his eyes again and he said, "Yes. But do we have enough bullets?" She said, "Of course, John, we have plenty of bullets." So he took her hand and he held it up and he said, "Then give them hell." And those were his last words. So when I was writing the song, I wanted to include something of the Mexican flavor in it. But rather than picking a song from the Mexican Revolution, I remembered an old folk song that I knew when I was in high school, I think, called El Burro. And it was about a town in Mexico that was so poor that they only had one burro for the entire town. The burro did all the work and so when the burro died, the town gave the burro a funeral. And I just thought John would love the irony of being associated with a funeral song for a jackass. Ya se murió el burro que aquí arriba la vaina, ya lo llevo Dios de esta vida miserable. Que tu, que tu Hey, tooroo-roo-roo-roo. Hey, tooroo-roo-roo-roo. He loved the game of poker. It's how I knew him best. By that time he was older. There was a cloud upon his chest. And if he won or lost, his expression never changed. John was a student of the game. He wasn't much of a husband. He was married to his work. There were millions who loved him, and a precious few he hurt. He was a man of vision, who saw the world in frames. John was a master of the game. I saw Sierra Madre when I was just a kid. Somehow I had to find out how he did the things he did. His red badge of courage, his African queen. He taught me about life, casting shadows on a screen. No full house was show the night John Houston died. Just faithful Maricela sitting by his side. He found her hand and he raised it high, champ at the final bell. Last thing John said, give him hell. And I saw Sierra Madre when I was just a kid. Somehow I had to find out how he did the things he did. His red badge of courage, the man who would be king. He taught me about life, casting shadows on the screen. He loved the game of poker. It's how I knew him best. By that time he was older. A cloud on his chest. If he won or if he lost, his expression never changed.